You are listening to USA Prepares on KWTO 560 AM. I'm Mark Wright, and you are, sir, the original survival economist. No duplicates here. And there's no whining here today, Vincent Finelli, because we got an Army man. We got a retired Army major. This man is the real deal. And oh, by the way, has anybody ever told you look like Dave Ramsey?
Yes, I have heard that before.
And we're going to tell that story, but we got one piece of breaking news. Breaking news here on USA Prepares, Vinny.
We do.
Tell our audience the breaking news today.
Well, we are a Berkey distributor, Berkey Water Systems. And I think we'll bring some to show at the meetup. If anybody wants them, they're there. Okay. And we are going to be the best deal on the planet. That's all there is to it. That's what we do. So Berkey Water, you can wait 6 to 8 weeks if you want, or you can see them right there and maybe even take some home.
We got our first customer right here. George said he wants a Berkey water filtration system. What do you think?
Well, I want one.
Okay. That's fine.
If George wants one, man, that's the seal of approval right there.
The studio wants one too. That's two.
Okay, we got two.
Well, I'll tell you what, they
may be sold out before you show up to the meetup. You better get there early, like right now. Camp out. Ziggy's. Luis would probably wonder, what the heck is going on? People got camping gear.
Major Wheelock. Oh boy, you know, I'd like to start the class with, we're inside the house, and something goes bump in the night. I've got some fears about that in my house, and we've addressed them. And class, I'd like to tell you that we have preschool events at the farm, and Major Wheelock was at the dining room table, and we talk about these things. So the instructors all get together, and we meet at the farm, and we have instructor classes where we talk about what we're going to do. And this is a very serious topic that we're bringing up. What happens, Major Wheelock, what happens when something goes bump in the night and the family is at the other end of the house? Well, how do we address that?
Well, the first thing you should do is make up your mind that you're going to defend your home, you're going to defend your family, you're going to defend yourself. That starts with a plan. It starts with doing an inventory of your home, where people are situated in your home, and doing some basic fire planning, looking at what might happen if you miss a target, if you have over-penetration on a target, where your rounds might go as you exit your room in the dead of the night, those kinds of things. So none of this happens by accident, or it's going to happen badly. So you need to have a plan in your home, and that's as simple as starting that by having the type of conversation that we're having right now.
So, Major Wheelock, are we saying that? Let's envision a typical house. We've got the master bedroom on one side of the house, and we have the children's bedrooms on the other side of the house, and or down the hall. And the front door is between the two, or the back door. And someone comes in through the front or back door. Now that bad guy is between the parents and the children. That's a terrible situation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's terrible, and it's also typical. And so it leads you to some decisions about the type of weapon you may choose in your home, how you may accessorize that weapon to defend your family, and how you're going to move and maneuver through your home. And then that leads you to other decisions like, what types of specialized training do I need? Is there any specialized ammunition I might want to consider? Do I maybe want to actually consider moving my children, if they're younger, to a different position in the home? So really taking a look at your home just the way a soldier in the Army would, and doing some defensive fire planning within your home, and then getting the resources that you need in order to execute that plan.
What about a potential situation where, let's say, the wife, the mother is saying, "Don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot," and you think you have to shoot, and there's screaming going on, and the children are in the way, and how do we avoid all that?
They're holding onto your leg. Daddy, don't shoot. I mean, what do you do?
Well, it's been said before that at the first round the plan goes out the window, but I don't know that I necessarily believe that. There are different things that you can war game with your family, that you can rehearse and train with your family. And again, we touched briefly on accessories. You certainly can have a tactical flashlight, whether held by the hand or let's say you chose a tactical carbine to defend your home with that was actually mounted on your weapon. Something that would allow you to see more or get better information so that when that time comes, you could make a better decision. So there are ways to kind of plan for those types of situations, because that's probably exactly what's going to happen, the worst case scenario.
George, are you saying you're coming on USA Prepares and say you ought to be prepared and have a plan in
Absolutely.
that situation? Is
Absolutely.
that what you're doing?
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Wow, that's a novel concept.
We do this every day, don't we, Mark?
We do. Well, and that's what this program is really all about. I mean, every subject we talk about has to fit through the prism of preparedness. And, and George, we talked about it at lunch earlier today. There's a lot of negative things going on in regards to crime. You talked about the last time you watched the news and you saw, oh my gosh, all these home invasions that are going on in Springfield. Well, let's expand that conversation a little bit. I mean, look at the budget. The state budget is devolving. There's less money there. They're talking about letting criminals out of the prison penitentiary. Here in Greene County, they're talking about overflowing. They got to release some of these people. We don't have enough officers on the street. We know that. Some departments are cutting back because there's not enough revenue. So that means you and I have to defend ourselves. We can't depend upon the government because they can't be everywhere. They're good folks. They're trying to do a good job, but they can't be everywhere, George. So we have to be prepared to protect ourselves and our family.
That's right. And the Supreme Court has actually said that the police departments really have no obligation to defend you. We know what their lead times are. We know what their staffing difficulties are. We know what the resource issues are. We know what the reality is. And that's all that matters as we're having these conversations is the so what. So what does this mean to me and my family? So that's why we're having this conversation today and why it's such an important one for you and all the folks that live in your home.
So, George, how would you suggest that we go about working with our families and making that plan? I've done it at my house. I know Mark has done it at his house, and we know what we're going to do if something goes bump in the night. There's going to be no screaming. What do you suggest that our class? What should our class do?
We need to clarify. When I shoot the other guy, there might be some screaming. There's not going to be any screaming on my side. I hope that guy's screaming after I plug him a couple of times.
So wailing
just
and
for
gnashing of teeth.
just for a few seconds too.
Well,
There
you
go.
know,
If
know
I'm
what,
a good shot, he won't be screaming long.
Mark, you know what I meant. I meant we don't want our class to have any screaming in their house. We want to make sure that everybody takes the right position, gets out of the way,
Sure.
and doesn't cause more problems.
I agree.
So Major Wheelock, what do you recommend we do?
I think first off, it's something that most of the listeners to your program, which is such a wonderful program that's really equipping people with things that they need to be thinking about. First of all, making a decision. One, that you come to an individual realization that things are not what they used to be. If we do slide off the edge and have a Great Depression too, and some would say that we're entering that, the people today will not respond as our grandparents and great-grandparents did in the 1930s, that there'll be an element of community charity and helpfulness, but there's going to be an awful lot of competition for resources, and we're already seeing that because of things that Mark had alluded to earlier. So the first thing is making a decision that I will defend my home, I will defend my family. Not the property, but the loved ones within it. After that, then doing an assessment and inventory, taking a look at the physical layout in your home, the things you talked about earlier, Vince. Where do my children sleep? Where do I sleep? If I think that's the most likely scenario, that someone might enter my home during the normal time that we'd be asleep, where would I exit from? What weapon would I use? Where do I have to be concerned about friendly fire or fratricide over penetration? Because it's a myth that some firearms will not penetrate the wallboard in your home. Every firearm that you could consider for self-defense, to include the smallest gauge shotgun or the .22 caliber, is going to penetrate multiple layers of sheetrock. So those are very real things that someone needs to consider.
You're absolutely right, Major Wheelock. We have done tests about that, and we've shot into all different kinds of woods and 2x4s and sheetrock and multiple layers, and you're absolutely correct. So yeah, you can shoot the bad guy right through the sheetrock, but you better know what's on the other side.
Well, you don't want to shoot your neighbor. Your neighbor didn't do anything wrong. So you want to shoot the bad guy, then the bullet literally could go through him, through the wall, and hit a neighbor. I mean, that's a nightmare scenario.
And
Okay.
that's absolutely a critical point, is what type of dwelling do you live in? Are you in a single-family residence? Are you in an apartment building? That's an excellent point as well.
So rifle, pistol, shotgun, it depends. That's really the answer. Is that right?
It really does. There's no best answer. Some people are bigger. Some people are smaller. Some people have handicap issues that are a concern to them. So there's not a best answer, and we can talk through some of that.
Class, I want you to look right here toward the controls.
Look at your radio dial.
Yeah,
I'm
look
looking
at
at
radio.
you,
Yeah, okay.
and I can see you, by the way. It's new
Okay,
technology
and
just at 5:60 a.m. KWTO. Keep watching the Ozarks, right? We're watching. We're watching.
Here's why I'm saying this, class. Instructors, please raise your hands. How many of you sleep with a firearm? Yeah, all hands went up, class. You saw that.
That one guy going down 65 did not raise his hand, and you know where you're going. You're going to Branson. Stop it right now. Stop and get a gun.
Yeah. So, we all sleep with firearms, and our spouses do too. So, we are ready, and we have a plan, and what we're advising all of our class to do is talk with the members of your family, sit down at the dinner table and say, okay, it's serious time, guys, and what do we do if something goes bump in the night, and where is the most logical place that bump is going to happen, and what are we going to do about it?
Yeah, and along those lines, as you're having that discussion, it's not a bad idea. Bring somebody in that's some sort of consultant or home defense expert to review what you all have discussed as you're laying out your plan. A key consideration is children. What are their ages? Are they younger? You're really going to have to do some repetitive training with younger kids especially, and maybe have some sort of plan between you and your spouse to get them secured quickly. So
I'm looking at you, George. You're going to be at the expo.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do that.
Okay, so can you address that in your seminar at the expo?
Yep, absolutely.
And will you be available after your seminars to talk to the class?
Yep, before and after, and the meet and greets that you mentioned, I'll be happy to do that.
Personal consultation and no extra charge?
No, just as your guys' intent is not to make a ton of money. You're trying to help people, to equip people. You are equipping the Ozarks and the greater Ozarks region. That's what we're trying to do, because I don't care what you have in your home, the most important assets you have are your skills. So the time to develop those is right now.
I like all of our instructors because we all have the same motive. The motive is to help people, and no one really is looking at the dollar sign. Kind of neat, huh?
It is neat. We have a lot of good people that believe like us. George, and we were talking at lunch, and you believe about what's going on in this country and how people ought to be prepared. Talk a little. We got to go to a break for here in about 15 seconds, but, you believe in that philosophy.
Absolutely, and here's the bottom line, folks. Every 13 seconds in America, an American uses a gun for self-defense. That's pretty significant.
It most certainly is, and I think we need to further expand on that concept and more after this brief bottom-of-the-hour break. Hey, I'm Mark Wright. That man right there is the original survival economist, Vincent Finelli, and we are here with the retired Army Major, George Wheelock. We're talking guns. Bang, bang. This is USAPrepares.com, where converging threats are confronted daily, and the threat of being personally assaulted in your home is the topic that we are talking about today on KWTO 560 AM, and I am genuinely pleased that we have a great American hero in this studio today, retired Army Major George Wheelock. Vinny, why don't you ask this man a few questions? He can give a lot of insight to our audience about personal defense and a lot more. Biological weapons, nuclear weapons, you name it, this guy knows it all.
Yeah, class, in the upcoming classes, we're going to be talking about large weapons, nuclear weapons, biological weapons, chemical weapons, from a man who trains in that genre. Class, look toward your radio dial, please. I'm going to ask one more question in the studio here. Mark Wright, what are you wearing?
I wear a Springfield Armory XDM-9, a superior premier handgun in America.
How many rounds is that? 9 millimeter.
It only can fit 19 plus 1.
That's 20 rounds.
That's 20 rounds. God help the flash mob that shows up in Springfield, Missouri, and I'm in the store when they show up, because if there's 20 of them, there's 20 bullets.
Let me turn to my left. Major Wheelock, what do you wear?
I actually carry the same weapon, and for the same reasons. It's an awesome function.
Not only is he a great American, he's a smart American. Now, Vinny, we don't want to embarrass you, but do you want to tell people what your handgun is?
Oh, man. Class, look toward your dial and you'll be able to see it. I carry a Para Ordnance 45 ACP. modeled after the 1911, and it's a double action. I carry an officer's model right on my hip.
So you're wearing a gun that was produced in 1911 in the last millennium?
Oh, don't go there, Mark. Don't go there.
Does it have rust on it?
No, it's stainless steel, and it's
Stainless.
double action, and there's one in the pipe ready to go. But I've got and I'm looking to my left right here. George, that's what you carry. Is that what you sleep with? I mean, I'm not asking you who you sleep with. I know your wife.
Not in a biblical way, right?